Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, members of the audience, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from the media. We will now begin the signing ceremony. Today, we have 3 agreements lined up for the signing ceremony. The protocol that we will follow is, we will request the signatories to come forward. I will make the announcement, following which the signatories will sign and exchange the documents and shake hands, after which they will proceed to the dais and take a group photograph. May I now begin? The first agreement to be signed will be the agreement on the establishment of a winning relationship between Guangdong Province, the People's Republic of China, and Gujarat, the Republic of India. The 2 signatories are, on behalf of India, the Chief Minister and Minister of Urban Development, Government of Gujarat, Srimati Anandiben Patel, and on behalf of China, the Executive Vice Governor of Guangdong Province, Mr. Shou Xiaohua. May I request the signatories to please come.
下面请我们共同来见证3份协定的签署。第一份是广东省和古吉拉特邦签署友好省州的协议，第二份是广州市和艾哈迈德巴德城市建立友好市的协议，第三份协议是中国开航和印度的相关企业建立合作的一份协议。
I just have a clarification to make. On behalf of the government of Gujarat, it will be the Chief Secretary of Gujarat. May I request him now to come over for the signing ceremony.
现在我想做出一个更正，代表古吉拉特邦签署协定的是古吉拉特的首席秘书。
The Hyatt Hotel in Ahmedabad, where 3 crucial memoranda of understanding are currently being signed at the highest levels between Chinese President Xi Jingping and Prime Minister Modi. And this will set the tone for the rest of the 3-day visit of the visiting Chinese President in India, kicking off with this protocol session in Ahmedabad's Hyatt Hotel. I have with me live on the phone line for some perspective on what's happening, former diplomat and observer and commentator on foreign affairs, Rajiv Dogra. Mr. Dogra, the burden of expectations is always high during such a high-level visit. It's especially high here in India, you know, given the major promises that the Narendra Modi government has made over the last many months. Is it unreasonable to expect that there will be some milestone takeaways from this particular visit? Or do you think that it's going to be an incremental step in a long list of visits of the same kind?
Well, I think we should take one step at a time, pause, consider what has been achieved or what has not been achieved, and then proceed. Because India-China relationship may not be as explosive and may not be headlines news on a daily basis as is the case between India and Pakistan, but India-China relationship in many ways is far more critical, not just for the region but also for the world, because we are talking about 2.5 billion people, and 2.5 billion people of whom the average age is less than 30.
Yes.
So you are talking about today and tomorrow. The second thing is that this is the first major visit that Mr. Modi has received after his installation as the Prime Minister of India. He went to Japan, which was the first foreign visit by him, and this is the first inwards visit by any big leader from the other side.
Yes.
The other thing is the Chinese leader has traveled, I don't know how many hours, and straight on plunged into discussions, talks, and signing of agreements. So that also shows a somewhat business-like approach. At the same time, what is worrying is the Chinese persistence in doing what they are doing at the border. That is something why I said that.
How much is that going to impinge on, as a former diplomat, Mr. Dogra, how much does that really impinge on, what is possible during these discussions? Because, as all television media haven't failed to highlight, the standoff that's currently on in the Demchok area of Ladakh is something that's happening right now, hundreds of miles away from where these two leaders are using their fountain pens to sign off on pieces of paper. So how do the two actually go together?
Well, I think any guess on that would be full of hazards, largely because Indian governments down the years have not kept the Indian people informed. Look at the way Chinese or look at the way Japanese or Americans or anyone else react. If there is a stand, they inform the people of that country first. For example, China has immediately reacted to our signing the agreement in Vietnam yesterday, and they were unambiguous about their stand. But we keep changing stand from day to day. Sometimes we talk about punctuation marks. Sometimes we say that we are cancelling the foreign secretary level talks. So this causes confusion among the minds of our own people. Let me give you another example. Did the Indian history start from the Simla agreement signed
Even
between
as
the
the
British
dignitaries
India and
leave,
China?
I'd like to
Or
request
does
you
Indian
to
history
please,
go back to the
go
time
to the
of
next room
Mansarovar,
where tea
or
and
as
refreshments
President
are
had
being arranged
enumerated
for you?
during his visit to Arunachal, that Indian history and Indian claims over its territory in that part of the world extend thousands of years. So firstly, we have to be a little more open with our own people about what exactly line of actual control means.
Right.
Because if it is line of actual control, then in today's age of satellites and GPS, it should be easy to determine what exactly is actual control. Otherwise, we should say line of disputed control. So I think we are being unfair to our own people.
Right.
And we can talk with a position of confidence or strength if our people are informed, and then we stick to a stand that we have taken with the other side.
Rajiv Dogra, stay with me for a moment. These are pictures that we're taking our viewers through inside the Hyatt Hotel in Ahmedabad. These are interesting pictures of that personal engagement between Prime Minister Modi, the First Lady of China, and her husband, President Xi Jingping, the President of China, at this particular venue in Ahmedabad, where 3 memoranda of understanding that cover agreements between Gujarat and China have been signed just moments ago between the delegations of both sides, and followed by a shake of hands by the 2 state leaders individually. Shortly from now, the 2 leaders will be heading to the Gandhi Ashram for a short visit by the Chinese president. He will be the first Chinese president to visit the Gandhi Ashram, in fact. And that will be followed by a walk by the 2 leaders. Huge security in this entire area, by a walk along the Sabarmati riverfront garden that, remember, had been prepared by Prime Minister Modi when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. That will be followed by an early dinner at about 7:30, after which the 2 leaders will be departing for Delhi. Day 2 is when okay, let's get another expert view in on what expectations really are. How practical is it to imagine that there will be big takeaways from this particular engagement? M.K. Bhadrakumar, former diplomat, is also with us for a perspective. Mr. Bhadrakumar? What is your reading of President Jinping's visit this time? Are you expecting any big takeaways? We know what's on the table. We have a list of the agreements that are going to be signed. But in your reading, sir, any big takeaways?
Yes, I think if you consider that in terms of the Mr. Narendra Modi government's national priorities, its own development agenda, if it is significant that we need to draw in foreign investment, I think this is a very major development. Chinese president's visit, because we can expect in the downstream Chinese investment, according to Chinese officials also based in India, to the tune of $100 billion, which is not a small amount, considering that so far only there's been about $400 million worth of Chinese investment so far overall in India. And these are also going into precisely those sectors which would lead to job creation. From the reports,
yes,
you can see that in the industrial parks alone, there is an expected job creation to the extent of 1 lakh. Now, in the present India's political economy, I think
right,
it's a very significant thing.
Okay, you're saying that it's a very significant thing. Rajiv Dogra is also with us. Rajiv Dogra, if I could come... Okay, we've lost Rajiv Dogra on the phone line. We'll get back to him in just a moment. One of the strong focuses between the two sides during this 3-day visit by the Chinese president is, of course, going to be trade and commerce. India and China are looking to evolve their relationship as far as investment is concerned. A large part of it is centered around Gujarat, but it will also be in other areas. $6.5 billion worth of investment committed by China, apparently in the form of agreements during this particular meeting. And we'll have more details about precisely in what sectors those really are. But they cover several different sectors: exclusive economic zones, pharmaceuticals, and other areas that China already has existing agreements and investments in, and it expects to amplify this in the days and years to come. The two leaders will be looking, in fact, to solidify an arrangement, an agreement, synergies and cooperation between both countries that could in some way preclude and make redundant the tensions, the areas where there are still contentious and outstanding issues, chiefly the border issue between India and China that has continued to fester after over half a century. The two countries fought a war in 1962. It was a war that India lost in a big way. It was a crushing defeat. A lot of water has flown under the bridge since then. But can India and China, the two countries with the world's largest populations, arrive at an acceptable framework to take things forward substantively? Moreover, are the young populations of both China and India prepared for only incremental progress? Now, diplomats and the two governments may say that issues are too complex to take big strides. You can't expect big milestone takeaways from each and every visit. But do the burden of expectations weigh equally on both India and China? Or do the people of China have much more measured expectations, given Beijing's strategic patience as far as relations with India are concerned? The two leaders in Ahmedabad will shortly be at the Gandhi Ashram and then at the Sabarmati Riverfront Garden for a walk before dinner. Live coverage here on Headlines Today, non-stop.